People didn't that how's I doing. I just wanted to make a video because with the schools reopen and everything, I have a year left to go. In secondary school. Um, yeah, so I think it's probably the biggest load of bollocks I ever seen in this country. Because as I said with the Department of Education, apparently there's no teachers in the country. Like they're going to say we're bringing more teachers, we get more teachers. They're magically going to just randomly appear out of nowhere. They're all in Australia, they're all in New Zealand, they're all in other countries where they're getting far much more money than they ever did in this sorry country. And I might say it's right. So that's not going to work out for you, I don't think. And saying that you're going to get more cleaning staff beforehand, the schools in this county in Cavan they had to take unlicensed teachers because they didn't have the numbers for teachers. Same with cleaners, there wasn't the funds for it. They only had one cleaner for a big school, or maybe 900 people with 60 classrooms. They only had one cleaner for it. And you to say that she's going like he's honestly just way with the fairies. The Department of Education are well with the fairies. It's not gonna work. And then 1 meter social distancing, not gonna work. And I'm going to talk about how Ireland could have coped better with COVID-19, and it's a very very simple thing that New Zealand and other countries have done. Australia has a bit of a rise in COVID-19 cases, but they used the noggin. They used the head, and they were like, wait a second, we're an island, right? We have the advantage more than any other country. Let's take the advantage. We're going to force everybody. And New Zealand wouldn't just waltz in and say, oh, I'm coming on holidays. They say, go into quarantine or we send you back. Which is the right thing. Over here, they just say, oh, welcome everybody in. Because there's people just waltzing in and nobody knows where they came from and nobody knows how to contact them and they're not self-isolating. And it's just a mess. The country's just a mess. Like, this country couldn't manage anything. This government, and that's why New Zealand has very low cases, and they're very more closer to China where it started, and the same with Taiwan too. They're very close to China compared to Ireland on the other side of the world. And New Zealand only had a few deaths compared to Ireland, with over 1,000 deaths, and it was a very very simple solution. I'm sure to God was something in the Irish Constitution which would have said close the borders, only only goods to come in, if that makes sense, medical supplies, things like that, to come into the Irish Republic. They closed the borders, they closed the ports, they closed the airports, shut down completely. Used the noggin only for trade and things like that. But no, this country decided we do the opposite. We let cherry pickers come in, because I'd love to see what the New Zealand government would have said if they said, oh, let's bring in cherry pickers. Because there's not a hope that they didn't quarantine. I bet you any money they didn't quarantine. And nothing was said about this, and the establishment didn't do anything. Like, in this country, they handled it very badly, in my opinion. They handled it. I think it was handled. It was handled very badly, but at the end of the day, I think it was the best that we could have done. And I think they might as well say straight. Unfortunately, there were so many deaths. But I don't think we had the right idiot. I don't think we had the right clowns and we didn't have the right people in the government. I might as well say straight, because they didn't have a fucking clue what they were doing. Because they were like, oh, let's open everything. Let's ping Tom, Pick, and Harry in. Over in New Zealand and Australia, they were like, right, we're an island. Let's take the advantage. In this country, they were like, couldn't care less. The European Union says open borders, so we have to be open, and we have to be open, and we have to do this. Like, they didn't have a clue in this country what to do. Like, they panicked for a while. I tell you that, they panicked for a long, long time. Both in local government and the central government. They absolutely panicked. And then they were like, let's claim for office material because we need more money. We want new computers. We want this, we want that. And that's what they went on about for a few weeks. That was their making song. But it just goes to show you, this country, it's just a matter of time before there's another wave, because this country hasn't got a brain. This government hasn't got a brain. And they're not just like, 100,000 people came in through Dublin Airport over the last month. And God knows none of them probably isolated for this, because nobody's forcing them. And I know it's they can't do it because it's unlawful. But in New Zealand, you see what they done in New Zealand. They were like, fuck unlawful. Our citizens, our people's health comes first. If we have to be unlawful, then so be it. And that's why there's low numbers in New Zealand. That's why there's low numbers of deaths. Because they were like, we have to break the law to save people's lives. In this country, they were like, oh, we just couldn't be bothered. And that's really simple as that. Just couldn't be bothered. As simple as that. Just couldn't be bothered to enforce anything. They couldn't be bothered to do anything. Like Dr. Houlihan, for example. He said, well, I remember him on, a programme, and him saying there wouldn't be any need for checks before coronavirus came to all. There wouldn't be any need in the airports for checks. And they absolutely just, they didn't expect this at all, this government. But still, at the end of the day, they're taking a big advantage of it because they're getting pay rises out of it. Nobody else in the country, everybody else is getting cut. But this country, this country's just, I don't know what they think of this country anymore because it just doesn't have any logic. It just doesn't have any logic. There's just no logic. Thankfully, it's not as bad as it was in this country. But they just don't have any logic. Like, they have no logic. Like, the school, it's going to be just a disaster with the school. And then the flu season comes in. It's going to be a disaster. There's not enough teachers. I'm telling this straight, and I say this to no effect. As I said, as I was the first person nearly to say, there's not enough teachers. You can't get extra staff. You can't get this. Because they're all in other countries. Where in the name of God are you going to get them? And teachers not going to put their lives at risk for small bits of pennies that they give young teachers. They're not going to do it. That's not going to happen. They haven't got the resources. Like, they're saying about 30 billion, it's only 300 million or something like that for extra cleaning material, things like that. But where was these wouldn't pay for cleaners beforehand, and nobody's going to put their lives in the hand. Like, it's school of 900, like my school is 900 nearly students because it's the main town school. It's for the main area of the town. In Calvin Town. Like, how in the name of God are you going to manage that? There's only 60 teachers. They can't get any more. There's one teacher left to become a TD in Dáil and they couldn't get anybody to replace her. And that's putting it straight. And she's gone to Dáil and they still can't get anybody. There's just no logic in this country. And they can't get any of the teachers. They try so hard, but they can't get them. And as simple as this, and I'm saying this straight, and I'm sure many of them, I go in for about 2 weeks. And if I'm not happy with my sister, right, if I'm not happy with the amount of hassle, because I'm not going to put up with hassle. I have enough hassle as it is already, and running around the place trying to fight a League of Dublin, different things, different this, that, and the other. I have enough hassle with that without going into school and being hassled about social distancing and being about this, that, and the other. I'd be just like, fuck this, I'm going to stay at home and I'm going to do a bit of work. Because that's what I do. If I didn't go to school, I would just be out doing the same usual thing as we're doing all summer. Cleaning up, doing things, making a difference. So that's what I'm going to do. Simple as that. And the Department of Education have a problem with it, I say my health's more important and putting myself first and putting the community first. It's more important than learning anything because at the end of the day, you're not going to learn much in this age now because they'll be too busy worrying about health and safety and the state will be too busy trying to not have a lawsuit on their hands from anybody. They'll be just trying to be on washy. And it's just going to be a mess. Like, nobody's going to learn anything, let's be honest. Because, there's just going to be a mess. It's just going to be a mess. Like, they're not going to be able to do anything. As I said, they can't go arseways. The Department of Education can't go arseways. And we see with my leaving cert this year. Because as I say, if it's too much hassle, simple as, I'm not going to go in. Simple as. And the Department of Education can whinge and quib and cry all they want. Because I can whinge and quib and cry about them if they want me to. Like, it's just fair as fair. I'm not going to put up with hassle. I'm not going to put up with stress. It's no point putting yourself into an early grave over stress. Simple as. Simple as. And it's enough stress. Young people have been put through enough stress over the last few months without seeing their friends. The most probably stress, young people have been stressed out more than other people because they used to be seeing their friends and everything like that. And this wouldn't mean to bubble. I don't know what to gonna do. Like, I don't know. Like, there's no logic. There's just no logic in this country. Because the best way for me to see is to do the online learning. Doing the online, send work online because it seems like the best policy. Because, having so many people in a school is not the best idea, let's be honest. Especially when you don't have the teachers. You just don't have the teachers. And some of the SNAs will be back in the schools and they can't get anybody to replace them. They won't report that in RT. Because there's a few SNAs and, they've been gone to nursing homes and things like that to help them out. And they haven't got them to replace them. Simple as. The schools in Cavan looking for extra SNAs because they went to nursing homes and they can't get rid of them because they haven't got the staff for the nursing homes. So you see the great country we live in now and everything that the the government been fucking off over the last few years have finally come back to bite them on the backside. Because they've been, I can't tell you how many times young teachers were out in protest. And they didn't care, the government, they just give themselves a pay rise and they couldn't care less. And then when the election came around, they were all like, oh, we give you extra money, we give you this, we give you that. At the end of the day, they give them fuck all. And I say straight, at the end of the day, they give them fuck all. And it's not even my language, but it's just comical. This country just, this government couldn't do anything if they had the whole might funding with the whole country. They wouldn't do anything. It's just it's just comical. It's just comical. It's just it's been looking, everything that they've been doing is the same, but the lack of teachers and everything that's open. I can't remember before the good times now. There were so many teachers didn't know what to do with them. And then now they're gone off to other countries and they're making the millions and millions. Like literally, they're making a bigger salary than ever in this sorry country, as they would say. And then you get more respect over them than they do in this government's society. But yeah, apparently NGOs and everything like that can get big bucks, but apparently teachers who work and teach young kids the future and teach them about the future and teach them, the general logic of society, apparently they don't deserve a wage, and apparently, the NGOs and the Taoiseach and everything deserves a bigger boost every week than anybody else in this country. It just goes to show you this is an authority. This is a bloody dictatorship. Better word. Anyway, thank you.